Good morning. Welcome back to E20's Own TV. I hope everyone's all well out there in the world. To my right is Jay, and he is here to give his thoughts on West Ham United 0. Yeah, Brentford 1. Jay, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, obviously very disappointed about the result yesterday. Not something that we thought would happen, but this is football, isn't it? Like, it is what it is. So yeah, we'll move on. But yeah, here to dissect the 90 minutes that was. How are you, mate?
Still gutted. I'm not gonna lie. Still gutted. Still can't believe how bad it was in the first half. Was a little bit better in the second half, but it is what it is, isn't it? Well, what did you make of it? You was there yesterday. Right, a minute silence for Ronnie Boyce beforehand. What you saying?
Yeah, which was touching. Someone that embodied everything that you want to see in a West Ham player, to amass that amount of appearances for West Ham in like the 60s is pretty spectacular. So may he rest in peace. That was probably the only good point from the day. Well, one of few. I wanted to start with just touching on Brentford, but I thought Brentford just absolutely dealt with us. Absolutely didn't look stretched the whole game. That first half was so predictable when you saw how we set up and how we tried to go about things. Paqueta playing in the 9, Kudus and Soler as two of your advanced players, and Bowen the whole game was like stranded out wide and wasn't tucking in at all. We had no threat in behind, and all Brentford did in that first half was squeeze up and keep us penned in. And we had no answer to it. We had absolutely no answer to it. So, like the scouting report would have said, they're not going to run in behind, so just condense the game down. And they did. And they took their one real chance of note in the first half. And we just didn't offer anything. We have absolutely nothing. So I thought we obviously talked quite extensively before the game about how we thought Potter should set us up. And if he went with a 4-2-3-1, he had the wrong man in the number 9 for me. It didn't work. We couldn't create anything. We couldn't even get in their box, to be honest. And it was really, really hard watching in that first half. I actually, something I rarely do is I got up at about 41 minutes because I was like, I need to go and get a beer to sit through this second half, and was walking down the stairs, looked up just long enough to see Wissa tuck it away to make it 2-0. And to my delight, was stood there with a beer and checked the score and realised it had been disallowed. So I went into the second half with a little bit more optimism. And I was actually impressed with how we approached it. I thought, as much as I thought Potter got it wrong in the first half, I thought he corrected those mistakes. I was standing there talking about what I would have done, and 2 of the 3 changes are changes that I would have made as well. I thought Soler and Souček had to come off. Neither of them were offering absolutely anything, and Ward-Prowse and Ferguson had to come on. Didn't see the Skiles change coming, but I get why Emerson was pretty poor. And I thought the 3 of them were excellent. I thought the 3 of them were the spark that we needed in the second half. I thought Evan Ferguson looked up for it. I thought he offered everything that we needed from a number 9. Dropping Paqueta in a little bit deeper, there's more that we can see from him. You can see he's still getting back to, like, he's finding his confidence, but he didn't impact the game enough and was giving the ball away. I don't mind him giving the ball away if he's trying, but, you know, he was giving the ball away in pretty pointless positions for me. The thing that bugs me, sorry, before we go to that, let me just say Ward-Prowse was excellent. I thought he was everything that we needed in centre midfields. He came on, he got on the ball, he was moving it quickly, he was occupying space to give people an out ball instead of just like going all the way back to the centre backs. He always wanted the ball. Been saying this for a while. Like there's people saying Ward-Prowse isn't good enough for us. You need to take a real look at what you want in West Ham's midfield when you look at Ward-Prowse. He offers everything that we need right now. I'm not saying he's the long-term future for the club, but what West Ham need right now is someone with energy and someone who will take responsibility. And those 2 centre midfielders, Souček and Alvarez, did not want that responsibility yesterday. They got ran through. They offered nothing on transitions, both defending and attacking. And it's no wonder that we were not in a game at half-time. But Ward-Prowse changed it on its head. And so I thought he was excellent. It was nice to see his set-piece delivery again. It's a shame we got nobody to aim at. And I thought Ollie Skiles was excellent as well. Going forward and defending, I thought he was brilliant. He looked so comfortable on the ball. He looked so confident. He was occupying those narrow like spaces around, like just inside of the opposition fullback. And then when the ball was turned over, he was quick to get back and he would win the ball back. So I thought the three of them were excellent. They were probably the only three like positives from the game that I could take away from it. What bugs me, and again, I see there's a lot of conversation around Graham Potter, and I'm not going to be too reactionary. I do think he got it wrong yesterday. It's not the end of the world. I'm not sitting here going, "Our Potter's not the guy." I think you've got to give him time. But the thing that frustrated me the most was the positioning of Bowen and Wan-Bissaka. I thought Bowen was very quiet yesterday, and I think it's because he was hugging that touchline. He wasn't inverting. He wasn't trying to get into the centre back, which, especially in the first half, is what we needed. We had nobody that was offering any different kind of runs, nobody that was trying to stretch the game. And in the second half, when Ferguson was playing, he was all over the place. Like, he was really, really going for it. He gassed himself out after about 30 minutes because he was having to do everything. And he's obviously not fully fit yet, hence he didn't start yesterday. But it's where I would have liked to see Bowen tuck in a little bit, get close to him, so that he had a one-touch layoff. We always compare our attacking transitions to Aston Villa. And Aston Villa always have a man spare. They can go direct to Ollie Watkins or whoever's up front. There's always a one-touch layoff. And then the spare man always has a ball, and they've always got a one-on-one then. We don't have that. And I feel like we missed out by not putting Bowen a little bit closer to Ferguson to give him that one-touch layoff and then get your best dribbler on the ball. But instead, we had Bowen like right out wide, one-on-one with Lewis Potter in a non-dangerous position, who I thought was excellent, by the way. I thought Lewis Potter was fantastic. And you had Wan-Bissaka occupying the inside channel. And I'd rather it be switched around. I'd rather Wan-Bissaka be the guy that's just dragging the left back out of position for your best attacking player to then occupy the inside channel. So I just thought we got that wrong, and the setup wasn't great. Hindsight's 2020, right? I said I would have played the three at the back. You bring Mavropanos in, and he had a stinker. Like, it's the most obvious thing that you could possibly see in it. So,
but the only thing I will say with that is that I look at that team in the first half. That's good enough to compete with Brentford. I don't think that's really on Potter when they're not showing any effort. They're not running. They're not. There's no communication there, and they're just all running like headless chickens all over the gaff. Yeah. And the thing is, Jay, it ain't the first time West Ham come out the trap slow. Like, this is a common occurrence. This has been going on for 5 years. It happened with Moyes. It happened with Lopetegui. It's happened with Potter. The issue is that I believe he picked a strong enough team there to go and compete with Brentford. I can understand when people say he's got it wrong. And then I do disagree, because I think sometimes if we look at Potter and say he got it wrong, it's like we're giving the players a pass, if that makes sense. I don't think the players deserve a pass on that yesterday at all, if I'm being honest.
I don't disagree with you, mate. I don't disagree with you. I look at it from both sides here. Like I say, hindsight is 2020, right? And we can look back and we can go, "Wow, the setup was wrong, wasn't it?" Because, again, looking at how the game unfolded, it was wrong. But I take your point. Like, the players didn't take enough responsibility, which is my point. When Ward-Prowse come on, he's exactly the kind of personality that we need in that team, regardless of what you think about his ability on the ball or how quick he is or whatever you want to criticize him for. He has that leadership ability where he'll get the ball in centre midfield and he ain't scared. He'll get the ball and he'll try and bring players into the game and he'll try and make something happen. And we just lacked that in the first half. So I do agree with you. But I just thought from what I thought you got wrong, even if you were going to play that personnel and you were going to play that starting lineup, like Soler on the left, Paqueta up front, it didn't work for me. It absolutely didn't work for me. For me, I would have been fine with that starting lineup if you had Bowen up front, Kudus on the right, maybe Paqueta on the left and Soler in the middle. Gives you a little bit more of a solid foundation. It gives you a more solid foundation when you're defending, because Soler will be more comfortable dropping in. Kudus is in his more comfortable position out on the right, and Bowen will stretch the play more. And they would have had to think more about what we were doing, but we just didn't make him think, mate. And I agree with you that it's the players' responsibility, but I think the system didn't help them. It's not an excuse for them, because I thought they were crap in the first half, but like Brentford just didn't have to get out of second gear, and part of that is down to the system.
Can I ask you, what was the difference? Obviously, the personnel change at half time, but in regards of formations and tactics from the first half to the second, because it feels like to me we changed it around in the second half. We come out like a completely different side. Like, we were better, but we had to be better because the first half was that crap. If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
It was quite simple for me. And in the second half, so I sit in the Bobby Moore upper by the corner flag. I was like, I went down and had a beer, and like I came back and I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna go to the lower, and I wanted to get close and like actually see, because I thought we were going to change things around and we were going to just attack, and we attacked pretty much the whole second half. We were completely blunt when we got into the final third, which is another matter. But it was really, really simple for me, and a reason that I was really excited to see Evan Ferguson join the team is not because like he's necessarily the Messiah, not because he's banging goals in for fun. I don't expect him to bang goals in for fun, to be honest. But it's just the positions that he occupied. Like I say, we like Paqueta, to be fair to Paqueta in the first half, he ain't a centre forward. He just isn't a centre forward. So the positions he was occupying and the way that he was making runs were always towards the play. It was never trying to drag a centre back towards his fullback. It was never to try and make a bending run where he drags the centre back out of position and goes in behind, even if he's not going to get it, because he doesn't know how to do that. That's not his game. And what we needed in that first half was Paqueta to make that run and Kudus, who was playing behind him, to then occupy that central space. But he wasn't doing that because Kudus is completely out of sorts. I'm sure we'll touch on that shortly. And Paqueta's not making those runs. All Ferguson did was try and stretch the game. And all he did was occupy one of those centre-backs and make him think about what he was doing. And it's the first time that we actually looked like we stretched him a bit. We had probably the first 25 minutes was just us attacking without Brentford being in the game. The disappointing thing was, again, this is where the individuals who were on the pitch just didn't do enough. And we didn't actually create anything of any note. I know we had that chance from Kudus early on. First thing I saw when I got down was Kudus blaze one over the bar from 6 yards. And I know Ferguson had a shot that he snatched at a little bit. Which was a bit of a half chance. I think him and Bowen, again, I haven't seen anything back, but it felt like him and Bowen kind of got in each other's way. And he snatched at the shot and it was easy enough for the keeper to save. But the disappointing thing for me was we were doing everything right in the second half, but we had no moments of like an individual showing the quality to go and score a goal. And that's the thing that's concerning. So that's where I say, I completely hear your point. I think the system was wrong in the first half. But in the second half, when he corrected his mistakes, I thought those 3 subs and the change in the way that we operated, I thought was the perfect correction. But the individuals just didn't show enough, and they weren't good enough to go and win the game. And the scoreline was probably fair in the end. So,
right, I've got a few things to say. First thing, Bowen penalty, yes or no for you?
I had a really good view of it. I thought it would have been soft, but maybe I haven't seen something from the reverse view. I don't know whether there was like contact in the legs. He was looking for it. You've seen him given, and the way I looked at this was, if it was given, the VAR doesn't overturn it. But likewise, if it's not given, the VAR doesn't overturn it. I don't think it was clear and obvious. But if you've seen it like from the TV and with replays, like, am I missing something? But
Newcastle,
I thought it would have been
Newcastle
soft.
away last year when Gordon got his foot in front. If you're going to give penalties for that, then you've got to give a penalty for this. Bowen gets across him, gets his foot across to cover the ball, and then Keane Lewis Potter, who I'm going to be honest, was excellent yesterday. I thought he done a good job on Bowen. Basically clips his foot away. So to me, it's a pen. People go, no, it ain't a pen. It's soft, but if you're going to go by previous penalties that we've held, right, 2 of them was up in Newcastle last year when we lost 4-3, and they were literally a person putting their foot on the ball and someone just kicking like the back of him. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it's a pen for me.
I think just quickly on that. I think first of all, that's the consistency, isn't it? I like whether it's a pen or not. I could see the arguments either way. But to your point, there's no consistency. If we get one given against us, which was probably softer than that, then why isn't that getting given? I don't think either of them are penalties personally. Just from the view that I had, I'd want to see the replays back before I make a full decision. But yeah, I think both of them weren't penalties. The second thing, excuse me, that was one of the only times when Bowen operated inside the fullback. Like, it was so telling that when he wasn't hugging that touchline and he got a bit more central and got between the fullback and the centre back, suddenly he was getting in behind and he caused Lewis Potter a problem and there was a potential penalty. So again, it just shows like we just got it wrong. Having Wan-Bissaka occupying those areas, I got no issues with Wan-Bissaka or what he did yesterday. I thought he was fine, but he's nowhere near as big an attacking threat as Bowen. I'd rather have Wan-Bissaka as the out ball with Ward-Prowse operating a little bit deeper to give him a reverse pass if he needs it. And have Bowen running at Lewis Potter inside the box. I'd rather have that all day. So,
what do you think about Mohamed Kudus yesterday,
mate? What is wrong with this guy? Like his head is gone, isn't it? His head is absolutely gone. Just silly things like that. He used to be like last season, right? He was so exciting to watch. As soon as he got the ball on the half turn, he knew exactly where his defender was. He would hold him off. He'd go round him. It was literally that easy. Every time we were on a transition, it was just hit Kudus with his back to play, or his back to the defense, and he'll make something happen. There was this really telling moment in the first half where inside our own half, we were trying to get out of like a defensive shape, gives it to Kudus, and he doesn't even look around. He just turns and opens his body straight into the guy that's defending him and gives the ball straight away. And it was so telling of the kind of performance that he put in. And there was nowhere to hide for him. He was playing like in one of his best positions where he should be the guy that we're looking for on transition. And he just didn't offer anything. He misses that chance. He doesn't even hit the target from 6 yards. Like his head is all over the place, mate. And again, I really like him as a player. He's obviously so talented. He's obviously gone through a really tough time this season, probably the first time in his career that he's gone through adversity like that and dealing with a manager he didn't get on with and playing out of position. And you can make all the excuses in the world, but he's got nowhere to hide now. He's got a manager who clearly likes him, a manager who's going to get his arm around him and manage, like his man management skills are very, very good. He's got to start putting in the performances. And when I'm sure we'll talk about the upcoming game away to Arsenal, which is a big, big game. I wouldn't be against him putting his arm around him and saying, look, I ain't going to start you today because he doesn't deserve to be starting. You got to start players on merit. And ultimately, he's not doing enough to start games. So, yeah, really poor for me.
To round this up, Graham Potter.
Give the man time. Look, like I say, I'm happy to sit here and say I thought he got things wrong. I'm also happy to sit here and say I thought he corrected things. I thought the result was probably fair, but you look at Kudus' chance. If he buries that chance 5 minutes into the second half, with the flow of the game, we're all over them in the second half. And you never know, we could then go on and score and win the game 2-1. It's a lot of ifs and buts is the issue. And football's a results-based game. And you see, we said before the game, didn't we, that if we lost this game, there'll be areas of the fans that start to feel unrestly and unruly. And it's already starting to show. Look, this will happen. We clearly need to make changes in the summer. The defense clearly still isn't good enough. You look at Mavropanos and Emerson, both of them probably need replacing in the summer. Emerson, I don't know, like you could probably make a case for him not starting anymore and put Skulls in. Regardless, there's a lot that we can talk about in the coming week. I think give the man some time. He got some things wrong today. He got some things right. That will happen. He's still learning. He's still using someone else's squad. And he's still trying to get new ideas across with players out of their like natural positions. So look, it is what it is. We move on. If he can get a result against Arsenal, then I'm sure everything will be forgiven and forgotten.
What are you thinking about Arsenal? Like, obviously, I'll ask you in a week, but right now, what are you saying?
If we play that midfield two, Declan Rice just runs through them, absolutely tears them apart. And like the thing I look at positively is they've got no attacking players. They have a 17-year-old, a washed Raheem Sterling, and Leandro Trossard, who I actually think is a pretty good player. We should be looking at this as a great opportunity to go there and get a result, a really, really good opportunity. But if we play Souček and Alvarez and they play how they did today, then they run through us in the first half and it's 3-0 at half time. So my glimpse into what I'm thinking that we'll talk about in the preview, I'm sure later in the week, is I'd like to see Ward-Prowse coming in a midfield three just to offer a little bit more solidity, offer a little bit more in transition, and to offer a little bit more going forward as well. If we play a midfield three and we can nullify them in the first half and deal with like Declan Rice's dribbling ability and his ability to just like ghost into really dangerous spaces, I think we've got a chance. But we're going to need to see a much bigger and much better performance from West Ham.
Completely agree, mate. That's been Jay's sort of FANCAM review of West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell and all that malarkey. We're back in the week to see what's occurring with West Ham and what's really going on. Do you know what I mean? Because it ain't looking good at the minute. It really ain't. I'm not happy about that yesterday. I'm not. I'm still. That's gonna sting me a bit for the next week. Do you know what I mean? And then we've got Arsenal, who, let's face it, we've conceded 11 goals in 2 games against them. It's a lot. Do you know what I mean? We've been piped a few times, so it's going to be interesting to see. Anyway, from me to you, take care of yourselves and each other.